Hey folks, my name is Amiri Banks. Well, obviously you know that. Let's see. So here's my story. I'm this thing called a graduate student. It's a really weird thing because it means you have 100% of the responsibilities of an adult and like 1% of the money. It's not fun at all, but it also kind of is fun in a way that I don't have time to elaborate upon, so I won't. And I'm a graduate student at this place called Penn in Philly, which means that I'm surrounded by people who look like me, ergo black people. They work pretty much everywhere. They work all over campus. They pretty much do all the jobs that aren't faculty and staff jobs. And before I was a graduate student at Penn, I was an undergraduate at Cornell, which is a very different place to be a student. Usually when I tell people that I went to Cornell, I get one of two responses. The first response is, cool, nice, which is their way of, I guess, playing the elitism, like Ivy League ego competition game that I didn't ask them to play. Or they go, which doesn't sound very different, but actually just means they don't want to be rude, but they have no idea where Cornell is or like what that place is. And that's totally fine too, because I don't care either way. But anyway, at Cornell, it was a lot easier to sort of blend in because I wasn't as surrounded by anywhere near as many black people, which means that I didn't have to kind of slip into this diametrically opposed state of mind where I'm constantly in paradox, where I'm constantly trying to be like the person I was raised to be, the person I truly am, the fullness of my being, or while also trying to be kind of, your standard run-of-the-mill, stereotypical, pretentious Ivy League student. And as a result of that, I sort of got, wow, I'm getting nervous. I sort of got caught up in this way of being and didn't realize that there was actually a time in my life when the lines in the sand were much more easily drawn and much clearer and much more explicit. So I'm going to tell y'all a story about a time that an empty lighter, perhaps fittingly, wasn't so illuminative in the lessons that it taught me. So I was at a barbecue over the summer with some family and friends. And at this barbecue, I was spending time with the side of the family that I don't usually see, the side of the family that my mom sort of kind of tried to shield me from without ever really saying that she was trying to shield me from them. And so when I was there, it was weird because she would always point out family members and she would say things like, that family member, Cousin Chris over there used to rob people when he was younger, or that family member over there is a reformed crack addict, and now she's turned her life completely around. And I didn't understand that she was trying to tell me this because she wanted me to like feel some sense of validation or like feel some sense of authenticity that I never got to have in my kind of protected, shielded life, or if she was telling me this because she wanted to make sure I remembered how lucky I was that I got to eschew those narratives and kind of shift my life in a different direction. But at any rate, while I was there, I encountered one of my cousins who wanted to participate in an activity. Let's just say it's an activity that white people in Colorado are getting paid millions to sell, while black people across the country are getting all kinds of fuckery. Excuse my language. I don't know. Wait, am I not allowed to curse? Uh-oh. Oh, I can? Okay, awesome. Phew, that was a close one. All right, well, anyway, yeah, I definitely just used that word. Let's just keep powering through it. I did not think I was going to go first, but, it is what it is. So my cousin wanted to participate in this activity, but he needed a lighter. He didn't have one. He asked me to get one. He was older than me, so I went and did it because, age. And so I went and got it from a stranger who was at the barbecue. She was one of many, eclectic figures and characters at the barbecue who were friends of the family. A lot of these people were what, the mainstream society might call quote-unquote hood or what have you. And so I went up to her and I asked her for the lighter, and she said, "What do you want the lighter for?" And I lied and said, "Cigarettes. I don't smoke cigarettes." And she said, "Oh, nah, my lighters be for blunts and blunts only." And I said, "Okay, yeah, actually, that's what I need it for." So she gave me the lighter, and I gave it to my cousin, and he went and participated in his activity. Then he returned the lighter to me, and I returned it to her. And the lighter was nearly empty when I handed it to her, and she said, "What? This lighter almost done with. Why are you even giving it to me?" And I was like, "Oh, my bad. How about I just pay you for it?" So I reached into my wallet and I pulled out $5. And she started cackling at the absurdity of the fact that I was about to give her $5 for a lighter. And she said, "$5? Them things don't cost nothing but about $1, like 99 cents, really, to be honest. Like, you don't need no $5 for that." And at that moment, there's this sudden tension and this sort of incomprehensible, interminable period where she sort of stared at me as I looked baffled with this kind of deep compassion but also confusion, as she slowly came to understand that even though I have tattoos, which you can't see right now, and even though I know how to use Black vernacular because it's just how I talk when I'm with my family and friends, and even though I had all the appearances and the trappings of someone who fit into that setting, the reality was maybe I was somehow different in some kind of way that she was only just now beginning to comprehend. And after that long, interminable, incomprehensible silence, she stared at me and she gave me this long speech, and she said, I don't know who you are, young man, but don't ever stop being who you are. Like, don't ever, stop being the person that whoever you become, whatever you're doing, don't change the way you are. She said a whole bunch of things. I mean, speeches don't usually move me because I'm just not easily moved. So I'm not gonna lie to you, I forgot most of the things she said, but that's not the point of the story. The point of the story is that in that moment, I had slipped out of the subterfuge that I had been embarking upon. I was no longer this person who was pretending to be sort of kind of from this hood that I never really was from. I was this, I don't know, it was almost as if sort of oppression, systemic, institutional oppression, had created this cleavage, not just between me and white people, but also between me and people that look like me, this intra-community cleavage, this intra-community rift that I could never bridge, this gap that I would never be able to overcome or change or do anything about. And it was just this interesting moment of reflection for me. I don't even know how much time I have because I wasn't done planning my speech because, I did not think I was going to go first. How much time I got? That was time? Perfect. All right, I'm done, I guess.
Keep it up for Amiri. Let's hear it for him.